it down.
Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Albuquerque. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Brian David Marshall, and we are underway. We have Thoughtseize from Owen Turtenwald, and it is revealing a hand of a Johnny Collar of the Pride, Dryad Militant. There's also a Daring Skyjack and a Land. Turn one play for Patrick Cox was Soldier of the Pantheon.
Yeah, and Patrick's probably gonna feel good. He's like, my creature did 2 damage there.
Yeah. Unblockable.
Soldier of the Pantheon does not shine in this matchup.
It does not. Yep. Though a 2-power 1-drop still does some work, and now there's a 3-power 2-drop here, so 5 power already on the board for Pat Cox, and Owen's already in a position where he needs to start finding answers. Now he has a pack rat. That's an interesting one because, well, does Pat Cox offer the trade? Does Owen Turtenwald take the trade? He does. Snaps it off for a Daring Skyjack, and
he doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have a lot of time to play around.
No. Also, it plays into Patrick Cox's game plan where Owen's like, "Oh, I'll make some rats," and then Pat Cox can be like, "Brave the elements."
Brave the elements. Yeah,
good
absolutely.
Game. Yeah. All right, I see that there's a
game one
Hero's
was great,
Downfall.
Great for Owen. Like he's just got a lot more spell. He has much greater mana requirements.
Oh yeah,
than he can possibly expand to by the time he's under all this pressure from Patrick.
That's right, and the deck is fast enough to keep him, at bay and make sure that cards like Grey Merchant don't affect. I mean, he can kill him before then.
Yeah.
Additionally, he's got some cards that are kind of miserable for the matchup, like Underworld Connections is pretty dead in game one here. The Thoughtseizes aren't that great. I mean, we saw what happened there. He does take away a threat. It's not dead or anything, but taking the 2 damage starts to add up really, really quickly too.
So just a Mutavault from Owen.
Yeah.
Does Patrick offer the trade here? A creature for your land? I think so.
I mean, he could. I mean, he's definitely going to attack with the captain. That's an easy one.
I think you send the soldier in here too, right? Like
you
just want to keep him off of his 5 mana and.
Yeah, and if he does, and if Owen has Hero's Downfall, which is what he has in his hand, then you're going to get that 2 damage in because Owen can't do both. He can't activate Mutavault and play Hero's Downfall.
If you just attack with 1, then he just
kills it.
He just takes nothing this turn.
Exactly. So yeah, I do like the attack, and Pat Cox comes to the same conclusion. Precinct Captain down.
Owen's at 12.
And there's another one to replace it. So, again, a lot of pressure here from Patrick Cox, though I got to say, not the most aggressive start. The deck's very consistent.
Right.
But Precinct Captain's a big problem going forward if Owen Turtenwald doesn't have an answer to it. And what is his hand here?
So it looks like Owen has an Underworld Connections and a Grey Merchant of Asphodel and the land to be able to play to get to 5. So is he going to? Yeah, he is going to cast his Underworld Connections.
He figures he just has to do it.
Don't know if he'll activate it, but he could just play it for the mana symbols. But of course he's going to. He knows he's gaining back 4 when he plays
Merchant.
The Merchant.
Yeah, that's correct. And the fact is he's going to have to just take on some risk here.
Oh, but here comes the Johnny, and I think, are we going to?
He's going to jump Precinct Captain. Now that
he's going to double strike.
Yeah,
he gets 2 tokens.
That's right.
He gets first strike damage and regular damage, both triggering off of the Precinct Captain.
Right.
And Owen is at 6. So you can go to 5 here, get back up to it. That's what he's going to do. He activates Underworld Connections, draws a card. It's Doomblade.
Ooh, that's a good draw.
Now the draws for his turn. Looks like Desecration Demon.
That's not going to do anything here. Yeah. Desecration Demon is just going to eat a soldier
pretty
per
slow and clumsy.
It is.
In this setup.
Yeah, Pat Cox is looking to be in great position here. He also still has a Johnny. He can use its plus ability to put a +1/+1 counter of one of his creatures as well. So
Yeah.
Owen must play.
Climbs to 9. Patrick's
Gray
gonna
Merchant.
fall to 14, yeah.
Now the problem for Pat Cox is if Owen can keep chaining merchants, that's where it gets ugly. But if he's only got one, Pat is going to be able to fight through this.
Probably put a counter on Precinct Captain here. Attack with everybody.
He could. I mean, he could also diversify his threats a little bit.
Well, I mean, he wants the thing is he can get Precinct Captain to be a 3 toughness, so he doesn't. That won't die.
That's true.
Then next turn potentially he can jump it.
He can get in for 5 damage if he wants to put the counter on a different creature, but he would lose his captain, which seems not super desirable. There it is. Attack with the team. And just no great blocks here for Owen. He can get rid of Soldier of Pantheon by blocking, but he's going to end up giving his opponent another creature anyway. All right, so 2, 3, 4. Drop you to 5. Any follow-up play here for Pat Cox? No, pass the turn back.
So
Now, Pat's on the pure mono-white version here, right? We're not talking about any red splashes, even though he has a bunch of red mana.
he has Boros Charm.
He does?
He does have Boros Charm.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Just 2.
That's an important distinction. Owen's down to 5. He's got Doomblade, Underworld Connections, and Desecration Demon in his hand. He has an untapped Underworld Connections that he can activate and drop to 4 here. But I mean,
But then he's like, he's kind of all in on a
like
Gray
finding
Merchant
another
being on
merchant
top
or
of his
something.
deck.
Yeah, exactly. He does have some pretty reasonable blocks here. The problem, of course, is that a Johnny is ticking, time bomb ticking here. I mean, once it gets up to 3, he can just minus it and
He
send
does have a
something to the
Doomblade. I
air.
mean, can he play Desecration Demon, pass the turn, let Owen sacrifice a creature, Doomblade, whatever he jumps, cross his fingers that there's not a Brave the Elements.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there's a Brave the Elements, I don't think Owen can win anyway, so he's probably not too worried about it. All right, he's going to attack a Johnny here to take that pressure off the table, and he's going to play a Desecration Demon, and this is going to allow him to leave Mutavault up for blocks or to play Doomblade. He doesn't get to do both here, though. So he's going to set Pat Cox down another soldier token potentially here. And it's getting interesting because if he does that, he's actually going to make the demon a 7/7, and Patrick has 14 life. Can Owen actually just find a race here somehow?
He's certainly looking at one.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Patrick decides to sack the soldier
he sacks a soldier token,
he can
taps that.
Doomblade the precinct captain. He's only taken 3 here, but he's also only at 5.
And he also knows that Owen attacked with the Gray Merchant here. So
I mean, he needed to take down a
yeah,
Johnny there. I mean, that was just board management, right? Yeah, we have a tank moment here, so we can zoom out a little bit and take a look at our feature match area. All right. Brave the Elements. So in response, though, Owen is going to be able to Doomblade here if he wants. And that should keep him alive. It'll drop him down to 1. And there it goes. Precinct Captain hits the bin. These all have protection from black. Bring you down to 1. And no follow-up play, so go. All right, so Owen Turtenwald, this is a big draw step for him.
This needs to be a Gray Merchant.
It's a swamp. He says go to attacks, nothing. Now, Owen still has the Mutavault, though, so he actually has blocks here.
Here's a question. Do you play the Underworld Connections in case you hit a Gray Merchant next turn?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on if Owen wants to represent something else, you know. But, I mean, I think that at this point,
Yeah.
Patrick's line is pretty straightforward, and he's just going to go for it.
So he's hoping Patrick doesn't play another creature and sack that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's actually just going to play the swamp and say go here. All right, so he's got one card in hand. What did Patrick Cox draw?
Looks like a creature.
It is a creature, so it's Boros Elite. And he says go to combat. No, he actually just passed the turn back.
The turn.
All right, so he did not go for it here.
So he was respecting the one card in Owen's hand.
Sack that. That thing gets tapped. Attack with all three. Yeah, he was. All right. He's got another creature now. He does. Another Boros Elite. Now is he going to go for it? Now Owen has 2 cards. It only got scarier.
Okay.
Yeah, now he's going to do it, though. He has a little bit of – he can beat one removal spell this way.
Right.
And that's going to do it. Patrick Cox is going to take it down game 1 versus Owen Turtenwald. Now, we were talking about this beforehand, BDM. That is not an unexpected result.
Right.
This is not a great matchup for Owen Turtenwald in the first game. But out of the sideboard, Owen has a lot of potent weapons against Cox's deck.
Life
here.
Bane Zombie. Mm-hmm. Pharika's Cure.
All great.
Another Doomblade.
Yes.
Shrivel.
Yeah. And he gets, but just as importantly, he gets to take out cards that just don't perform.
Right. So he's bringing in 6, 7, 8 cards potentially.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. Taking out Erebos.
You definitely take out Erebos, and you take out all 4 Underworld connections as well. So that's 5 of the 8. Basically, I think probably some amount of Thoughtseizes make up the rest of it. I actually asked Owen if he left in all of his Desecration Demons because it's okay in this matchup. It's still huge, and it's still a nice blocker. But unfortunately, the White Weenie deck does have the ability to put up quite a few small creatures that are kind of expendable. But he says he does keep them in.
So we actually got to see a back table match last round. We're not going to get to see a back table match this round. Miguel Gattaca just made short work of Andrew Cuneo's blue-white Elixir of Mortality
We just
deck.
finished game 1. Wow.
So just
Remember when we used to have
beat up on
other
him.
feature matches? That was cool. We have just had these incredibly quick matches.
Clearly,
on
the
the
problem is sequencing. This is poor sequencing.
It is.
We should just Costanza ourselves, and whichever match we're going to put on the front table,
Just
we should
switch
put
it,
on the
yeah.
back table. And then you might need to double Costanza.
Yeah.
You know, I never fully understand the physics involved there.
The physics.
Yeah, the physics.
But we do have a great match on our front table here, and one that we've seen. Oh, make sure you guys check out Grand Prix Vienna, by the way. Next weekend, it's standard November 30th through December 1st. We have our European coverage team. They're going to be bringing you just like this, every round, a bunch of extra cool stuff. You can watch it all on twitch.tv/magic, and you can find the text coverage and links to the video coverage as well on dailymtg.com.
Find out what people will be packing to beat the pack rats.
Yeah.
Because that's certainly going to be
that'll
enemy
be
number 1 next week.
Yeah, and I'm sure a bunch of the coverage guys are watching this too from Europe. You know, Rich is probably watching, and they're going to be wondering.
Hey, Rich.
Hi, Rich. They're going to be wondering, what are the ones? Yeah, we have Big Z in the chat room.
Oh, nice.
Shout outs to Big Z.
Hey, Mate.
Yeah, and they're going to be keeping a close eye on the metagame shifts because anytime there's a Grand Prix and then a Grand Prix of the same format in short order, people will react for sure. They'll be like, "Oh, the mono black deck. I got to be able to beat that," and they're right. So. It'll be interesting to see how that metagame shifts next weekend, and I know I'll be tuning in.
Interesting to see if Sam Black flies to Vienna.
If he makes it there on the flight. No, it's true, though. I mean, he's put himself in a prime position to top 8 this Grand Prix, top 8 of the last one.
Top 8 of his last 3 majors.
Events, yeah.
His last 3 majors.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Right? Theros, Louisville, and Washington, D.C.
There you go.
And
what a sick run.
And in all likelihood, should be top 8 of this one as well.
Yes, he looks to be.
Right, can lose and handshake his way in.
Speaking of stringing together top 8s, Owen Turtenwald also top 8 at his last event.
Looking to go to sort of put up a Kai-like win-win Grand Prix streak.
Yeah.
Get that
in the
going.
modern era.
And you got to remember, first of all, Jordan, the year he won Player of the Year, he put together a torrid.
Yeah,
like
7.
Like other than Kai, we've never seen anything like that in terms
that
of
right? Yeah.
just so many consecutive Grand Prix top 8.
He was super dialed into. I remember looking at one of his seal decks that he top 8'd with and being like, this is a pile.
Oh yeah,
He just ran.
I don't think he had any rares. I think
Yeah.
he didn't play any of his rares in that pool, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was on an absolute tear, and it looks like he's firing that up again. It's the new Owen Turtenwald as well. You know, he hangs out with Reed Duke and Huey Jensen a lot.
Yeah, the members of the Peach Garden Oath.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because you can see their personalities all kind of rub off on each other. Like Owen's nice now, Reed Duke's mean.
Yeah, Huey's just still awesome.
Huey's just still there. Yeah.
You're gonna look at Owen Platinum Pro. You know, well on his way to another Platinum season already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, crossed the Pro Tour top 8 thing off his list.
Yes.
Cross Player of the Year
off
off
of
his
your
list.
list. You're the one that carries that list
Yeah,
around.
man, I do carry that list.
speaking of
Cross
Reed
Grand
Duke.
Prix champion off the list.
Mm-hmm. Which was a big list for him. He had 13 top 8s.
Baker's dozen.
Yeah. All right, looks like we're underway here back in the feature match. I believe that that Pat Cox has mulliganed to 5, perhaps. We'll get that up for you on the screen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Owen will give you the death glare. Yeah. All right, turn 2. First play of the game, and it's Imposing Sovereign. Yeah, Imposing Sovereign, yeah, seems pretty good here for sure. I mean, 2 power. And Owen doesn't want to see that any longer. Farika's Cure, and this is just one of the many tools that he has out of his sideboard.
You remember Soren's Thirst.
Yeah.
If you remember the slower Vicious Hunger from years back.
Yeah, and we can see right away that Owen Turnwald, even though I do believe that Patrick has mulliganed significantly here, but at least once. But Owen, ideal start. Kills the 2-drop, no 1-drops out of Pat Cox's deck, and Owen has a really nice 3 here. A 2/3 flying blocker is great, and also can start generating card advantage as soon as next turn, assuming that Owen has some clean attacks here. So off to a great start for Owen.
Not a lot of flying for Patrick.
Yeah, and the ones he does have, it's temporary. You know, Daring Skyjack, it jumps really high. We won't really quite call it flying now.
It's like old Superman.
Yeah. He jumps over buildings. But
old Superman couldn't fly.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of his claims to fame.
Yeah.
You know, single bound and all that. Okay.
I'm going to guess Azorius Arrestor.
All right, I'll go. I was wrong, too.
Captain.
I was going to say Daring Skyjack, but I was wrong as well. Ooh, but there's also an untapped Sacred Foundry, so this is really important. It's going to show Owen Turtenwald that Patrick Cox very likely does have Brave the Elements, as he's certainly representing it. Oh, an interesting pacifism comes in, and Owen, if he can hit a white mana source using that Night Veil Spectre, is going to be able to actually cast it. It could be pretty good here, but he says, you know what, if you've got, so he's going to ultimate price, but Pat Cox doesn't have Brave the Elements or chooses not to use it there.
Owen calls the bluff.
Yeah, I mean, or at least he just said, look, if you've got it, I got to get it out of your hand one way or another, and I'd rather do it now than wait till you have a big army and can just kill me instead. It could have been a bluff as well. It would have been a two damage bluff for Patrick Cox, which is kind of interesting.
There's an Arrestor.
There's your Arrestor.
And an Imposing Sovereign. Okay.
So he's starting
Shrivel
to rebuild
targets.
his board. Shrivel targets, but it's clear that Owen doesn't have Shrivel in his hand as he plays another ultimate price takedown Imposing Sovereign. Night Veil Spectre gets to untap, but it is detained currently, and there it is. The old limited play, turn 5 Pack Rat. And this could absolutely take over the game.
I don't know that he will be unpacking any rats this turn. He's holding a Grey Merchant.
Okay. I mean, getting that first copy.
Patrick's deck is really got 20 damage in it. Maybe it's got 24 damage in it. You know, I don't know that it can get like 28 damage.
Well, it's certainly not with a 2/4.
Yeah.
On the battlefield too. All right, so let's see what Patrick Cox has here. Banisher Priest, and he's just going to take down the Night Veil Spectre. He knows that if he targets a Pack Rat, there's just going to be a token incoming anyway. And this is also going to line up an attack here from Azorius Arrestor. So Cox doing everything he can.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just going to make a rat here And now he has the rat insurance plan going where even if one gets killed, he still has another. Attack with both rats, make a rat, and here we go. Take 6, and the rat race begins.
Rats off to you.
I know that's a reference to something. I just don't know what it is. All right, Patrick Cox's turn, and it's looking dire here.
Rashad Miller, known hat wearer, was giving Marshall some visual clues, but he wasn't. He wasn't
There's
picking
like
up
a
on them.
movie or a TV show or something. I'll talk to you about it later. I don't know.
Too focused on the.
I'm too focused trying to see
the
if
rat
Patrick
action.
Cox is going to be able to beat what is now 3 pack rats. And my guess, BDM, is no.
No, my guess is no as
Yeah.
well.
He's also losing the race straight up. I mean, he's down to 10 life.
Right, and those are just whatever card Owen draws. He's just like, nah, discard it, make a rat, attack for 12.
Yeah.
You know, you have to block something.
Right. And Patrick Cox's deck has very little in the way of
How many
removal.
Swift Justices is he playing?
I'm going to say 0.
Yeah.
I mean, there are scenarios where Owen Turtenwald could walk into a mistake, but he's not going to.
You know, hey, you know, we're close to the point where a Mizium Mortars can get overloaded.
He doesn't have them, does he?
He has
2?
He has 2 Mizium Mortars in his sideboard.
Wow, and he's got triple red, too. Okay. I mean, he's got a 1-turn window to make that happen.
Where
they're going to be 4
the card
fours.
on top of his deck and the card in his land have to be a permutation of land and Mizium Mortars.
Untapped land as well. But that actually will get him out of this because the rats will be 4/4s, unless, of course, Owen. No, yeah, they'll be 4/4s.
Yeah.
Okay, this could get interesting actually if he rips a Mizium more. I did not realize that he had it. I wonder if he brings it in. Kills Gray Merchant. Yeah, he probably does because it also kills Spectre.
Kills Spectre.
Yeah. Kills Pack Rat too.
They're kind of like, oh, block. Oh, I'll block. Yep.
Make
Take
a Pack
8.
Rat, and that was a Mutavault, which is interesting. But yeah,
Oh,
just
no.
having a rat.
To brave the elements.
All right, so he now does not have the opportunity to make that play. He draws, I believe, a Banisher Priest. Is that what that was? Either way, he's at 2, and I believe we're going to be getting a game 3 from Owen Turtenwald versus Patrick Cox here. I mean, Patrick has a reasonable board here, but it does not beat Pack Rat. Pack Rat's just insane, and there we go. Owen said that it turns out it's just as good in Standard as it is in Limited. He says it does basically the same thing. You play it, and you're like,
So just to
you
be
kind of
clear,
put your hands up.
Just to be clear, just as good in Standard as it is in Limited means it is the best card in Standard.
I mean,
That's
understand
what
you're
that
saying.
means.
Yeah, okay, how about this? It does the same thing. Meaning, you
Well,
play it
yes,
on turn
it does,
2,
it
and it
definitely-
asks a very poignant question. Can you kill this? Because if not, you're dead.
I mean, I'm not arguing that it might not be.
Yeah.
It might very well be the best
it
card
might
in
be.
Standard.
I'd be curious to hear some pros' thoughts on that one. But I mean, it's at least as good. It's really insane. I don't think that I certainly didn't see that coming. That Pack Rat would have such a huge impact on Standard. I'm actually kind of glad it did.
Yeah, really?
I feel a little bit
Did
relieved.
you draft a lot of those? Now you can put them to good use?
No, it's more like, every time I lost to it, I kept thinking like, and this card's not even good in Standard. And then now it's good in Standard. So I feel better about all those losses.
Again, the loser of this match is very unlikely to see a top 8.
Now, would you say the winner of this match is likely to see
Yes.
a top 8? Like, they
Yes,
can draw
yes.
in for the most part?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one round left in the Swiss. They'll have 2 losses. They could probably shake hands, find someone else with 2 losses, and
Wow. So
hope they don't get pared down.
it always comes down to this, just one game of Magic the Gathering, and it's such a huge difference, right? The loser has to skulk over to their friends and say, didn't draw enough lands, played perfect.
Yep.
And the winner gets to go on a high five
who
tear.
Who feels worse there, the player or the friends that have to tolerate the bad beat story for about 20 minutes and possibly an entire car ride home?
Probably still the person who lost play for top 8.
But it's close.
It's close, yeah. Yeah, both of these guys have been at it long enough, though, to not subject their friends to that kind of torment, I think. All right. We have a channel firefight on our hands here. One player advances.
Both players authors for Channel Fireball.
About 20 minutes left in the round. Yep.
Neither player or member of King Channel Fireball?
Patrick Cox bounces around.
Yeah.
All right. Does Owen have the right opener? He has all the tools that he needs.
I see a Farika's Cure in his hand.
That's a really good start. It
fine
really
card.
is a great start. I mean, especially because, and Patrick Cox is taking a mulligan here. One of the reasons why that spot removal is so good against Patrick's deck is because he's playing cards with Battalion. And when you play a Boros Elite, and you kill everything else but the Boros Elite, that Elite is miserable.
It's just a 1/1.
Yeah, it's just a 1/1. So it means that the spot removal gains value because you can kill other stuff while still nullifying creatures that are on the battlefield. So, yeah, Patrick Cox taking a mulligan here. He's also on the play, so not an ideal situation. He's really going to need the right hand to power through all of the sideboard cards that Owen Turtenwald has brought in here.
It kind of needs one drop, and then he has Brave the Elements for the Freakish Cure on turn 2.
Yeah, that would be a really nice start. Brave the Elements serves a lot of roles in the deck. One of the main ones is powering through any type of defense, but another one is saving your guys from removal. That does happen. All right, 6-card hand for Patrick Cox. See if he's got a keeper here. Okay. He does.
But no 1-drop, you can have to scry.
Temple of Triumph, scry, keep it on top. Scry. Interestingly, we have 2 near monocolor decks, one of them actual, and we have 2 scry lands to start off. Are those good? Yes, they are. All right.
Precinct Captain, we know that he's gonna get the cure.
He is, and he's gonna do it right now. No need to fuss around and get greedy here. He's just going to fire it off, get that guy off the table, and pass the turn back. So a good start for Owen Turtenwald, looking to make back-to-back GP top 8s, maybe even become a back-to-back champion. All right, so
Johnny ticks it up.
Ticks it up, and you can do that. And this could get interesting. Well, a little less so now that Owen Turtenwald has found Night Veil Spectre to apply pressure, because, I mean, a Johnny, it can go ultimate and threaten to win the game in one sweep, but looks like it's going to be kept in check by Night Veil.
Can get a counter on the Mutavault attack.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's still good. It's just, unchecked, a Johnny can win the game on its own.
Oh, sure.
And sometimes Owen's deck doesn't have a lot of pressure, so this time he does.
But not after sideboarding, right? Like after sideboarding, he doesn't have those underworld connections type draws.
That's true. That is true. Another Mutavault here for Patrick Cox, and he has the Banisher Priest.
And he puts a counter on it, gets it out of kill range.
Yes, that's very important. That also puts a Johnny all the way up to 6 loyalty at -8. The ultimate can happen, and right now, looking pretty good on that. If he does ultimate, you get X 2/2 white cat creature tokens, and where the X is your life total. So right now, 20 of them.
I don't know that I've ever seen that happen in a tournament setting. I know it happened.
I don't think I have either.
I know it happened in Dublin in a match where people were both at 200.
Oh no. All right, so we'll see though, because this is an awkward situation for Owen because he wants to control the board, but he also has to worry about a Johnny.
There's a desecration demon.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that could also happen here, though, is that Patrick Cox has to really worry because he could try to move in on a Johnny, start sacking his Mutavaults to keep the Desecration Demon down, but then just have his Johnny Heroes downfall because Owen does run that card, and he's got to be careful. So this is an interesting decision because the other thing that Patrick Cox can do is just start using a Johnny to pump up his creatures and get in for a lot more damage and try to get value.
plays a land.
We've seen this weekend that Desecration's favorite lunch is definitely Mutavault. It has left many.
I've seen it. I've seen it go vegetarian with Elvish Mystics. I'll just have a salad.
Leafy greens.
So I saw this play a lot. I saw tap my Mystic, sacrifice it, use the mana to activate my Scavenging Ooze.
Oh, yeah?
Remove my elf.
Oh, nice.
So another counter.
All right, so
This one goes on a Mutavault.
it is ticking upwards here. So it looks like this game, at least at this stage, is going to revolve around a Johnny Caller of the Pride, and there's a Daring Skyjack.
yeah.
All right, so, and he just passes the turn back, so we're going to see probably a Mutavault, maybe even a Daring Skyjack or something sacked here. And let's see if Owen, if we can get a look at his hand, because he does not have a lot of ways to deal with it. Johnny, really just the hero's downfall. He doesn't have one. He does not have. He has an ultimate price. He has a Lifebane zombie, so he's going to be able to do some work.
Lifebane zombie can.
It can. Well, that's going to change the Mutavault equation here, though. All right,
See
and
another Johnny in
he
hand.
bricks, and there's another Mutavault. Lifebane Zombie has Intimidate, so the white creatures won't be able to block it. But Packhawks has to be careful about burning all of his Mutavaults because he's going to need to be able to block here. So, all right, there it goes. One Mutavault down. Get a counter on Desecration Demon. It's now a 7/7. But a Johnny
So he has to
is
get
at
through
7.
this next turn.
He does.
See,
He's got to get through this next turn. We know what the card he has in his hand. It's a Johnny.
Right.
So he has nothing.
So he's empty.
Wow, this is going to be close. Another strategy that Owen can try to employ is to just kill enough.
Well, does he have an ultimate price in his hand?
He does have an ultimate
So he can
price
get
in his hand.
Yeah, he's going to do that on his upkeep. Get back his Night Veil Spectre.
All right, so things are looking pretty good for Owen to keep a Johnny from going ultimate. I think that was a Temple of Triumph there for Patrick Cox. So Owen has positioned himself with three different attackers that could potentially get into a Johnny and prevent that ultimate from happening. So Patrick's going to have to change gears here. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw him, try to get some value out of a Johnny some other way, because it's going to be under a lot of pressure shortly. Owen has Temple of Deceit and Grey Merchant in his hand.
He can actually activate the Johnny, go up, and then force Owen to not attack him.
Sure, I mean, it would do that. The problem is that, he doesn't have anything else going. I mean, he has a Daring Skyjack and a Mutavault, and his opponent's at 22 with a better board. Like, Patrick Cox is way behind if he loses his Johnny, and it looks like that's what's going to happen here. It's a risky play. Early in the game, you can decide, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try to get this Johnny up to ultimate, but, there's a lot of things that can go wrong.
I mean, I don't think the way the cards played out, he didn't have any other options, but that's never the plan I want to make up against the deck full of spot removal and giant flying fatties and evasion creatures.
All right, so let's see what Patrick comes up with for this turn. Is he gonna abandon? He is. He's gonna abandon ship, jump his Daring Skyjack, attack you. So this threatens to hit for 6, and this is really the big turning point in the game here. This is where Patrick Cox, oh yeah, that was actually Sacred Foundry. So he's basically given up on the Ajani plan, and he can't be happy about it here.
No.
This is a pretty miserable spot to be in, as Owen Turtenwald has a pretty dominating board presence right now. And this is where, when you're the aggressive deck, especially a deck like White Weenie, your top decks just get so miserable. You're drawing 2 1s for 1.
Yeah.
Don't do
like
anything.
Imposing sovereign.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Right, and Owen Turtenwald's drawing like Grey Merchants and huge flyers and stuff like that. All right, so these are attacking, and they're actually just going to all go at Patrick Cox. He's because Owen threatened enough at a Johnny that Patrick had to ditch that plan. And is this actually going to be it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's it. Owen Turtenwald.
Which should be back-to-back Grand Prix top 8s
Yes.
for Owen Turtenwald.
fantastic result for Owen. And I mean, he's